everyone, I am outside the ring tonight with the MMA Fighter Gino Tutera. I'm Morgan and you are watching the AUGEgirl Network. Gino, thank you so much for talking with me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
I'm glad to have you on the show. What sparked you and made you think about becoming a MMA fighter?
I've been watching it ever since the beginning, which UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championships, is like the pinnacle of the sport. They're the #1 league, and I've been watching it since they came out in 1991. And it's interested me ever since I saw it. So that's really what kind of sparked my interest. I've been interested in it ever since it came out. And, been competitive with wrestling since I was a young kid, and that's pretty much the gist of why I'm still in it right now.
How many fights have you been in?
Professionally, I've been in 4 fights. My MMA record currently is 3-1.
Wait, that means you've won 3 and lost 1?
Correct.
Okay. How often do you train?
I train anywhere from 3 to 4 times a week. When I get in my fight preparation, usually I'll go into 2-a-days, which I'll train 3 to 4 days twice a day instead of just 1 time a day.
To make up for the days you don't?
That and just extra preparation for the fight.
When you do train, what do you think about? What's your motivation?
My motivation is #1 my family, because as a professional we do get paid. So my #1 motivation is performing for my family, myself, my team. Those are probably the biggest things that I need to represent and motivate me to be the fighter that I am.
What is the best punch or kick you've ever given?
Best punch or kick? I'd have to say there's quite a few. But my favorite punch is either my Superman punch or spinning back fist. I tend to drop people with those. So.
What song gets you fired up?
Well, my nickname is the Ironman. So my come-out music is Ironman by Ozzy Osbourne. Always been a song that has really hyped me up, pumped me up. There's quite a few different songs, different genres that may make me more heightened to do well in the ring. But I choose Iron Man. That's my walkout music, and that's the one I like the best.
Did you play any other sports?
I've played a lot of sports. College-wise, I grew up playing football, baseball, soccer, wrestling. I did everything as a young kid. In terms of high school, I played high school baseball, high school football. I wrestled, and then went on to college and I played college baseball, college wrestling, college football. I was an All-American, 2-time national champion. So I did a lot of things in college. Played a lot of sports.
Very sporty.
Yes.
If you could fight anyone, who would it be and why?
There's not one specific person that I would like to fight. I usually just kind of take it as it comes, and basically whoever the promoter wants to put in front of me is basically who I'm going to fight. I really don't have an issue with fighting one person or another. I'm not scared to fight any man. Just whoever they have for me is who I'm going to fight. And my ambition is to be at the top of the sport, so whoever's in front of me is who I'm going to fight.
What is the biggest challenge to being a single father to 3 little girls?
Pretty much instilling the proper morals and values in my kids that they need in order to grow up. Just being there for them, being a great role model, making sure that they have everything that they need, and then balancing out the time, between training and being a father. There's a huge difference between the two, and you really have to balance out your day properly in order to make that happen. The fortunate part of it is that my kids love what I do, and they also take part in that as well. At my gym, I teach the kids classes at Champions MMA in Bradenton, Florida, and my kids take the classes as well. They love it, and they go there about 2 to 3 times a week as well. So
What is the girliest thing that I've ever made you do?
Probably the girliest thing that my kids have ever had me do is dress up. Not necessarily as a girl, but maybe a cheerleader and have me dance with them around the house or whatever.
I've never made my dad dress up. I couldn't make him one. But my brothers, I have forced to put in the princess dresses.
Well, it has only happened once. This is not something that happens a lot.
What do you love the most about being a father?
Just the label father itself is something that I know no one can ever take away from me. So being called father or dad, that alone in itself is more important than really anything. It's a job, but the label itself, the thing that makes me so proud is that I know nobody can ever take that away from me. Because there's a lot of things that can be taken away from you in life. But the fact that I'm labeled and I am a father, dad, being called daddy, there's not a better thing in the world. So,
if you could teach your girls one thing in life, what would it be?
One thing in specific, pretty much just show people the respect that you demand upon yourself. So, if you want to be treated with respect, then you need to treat people with respect. So,
Augie is defined as all you got every day. How are you, Augie?
That basically is always do your best. One of the 4 agreements in life is always do your best. And by that, the acronym AUGE, basically the way that I would take it is to leave everything out there. No matter what you're doing, what walk of life you're in, whatever you're performing or playing, or if you give 110% and you leave it all out there on the field or in the cage or whatever walk of life you're doing, as long as you give your best, that's all you can ask for.
When you were little, what did you first want to be when you grew up?
First thing I wanted to be when I grew up was a baseball player. I wanted to be a professional baseball player because, I grew up watching the Kansas City Royals and George Brett was my idol, and I always said I wanted to be just like him. But that was when I was a kid, and that's changed numerous times. So there's a bunch of different things that I've wanted to be growing up. So.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a third baseman. I played catcher. I pitched. I did all those positions in college. So, wherever the team needed me or they thought they could utilize me the best is where I was going to play.
It's kind of like my brother. Pitching and catching and third base and first base are his main positions.
If the more positions that you're good at, the better off you're going to be, because when the big dogs look at you, they're going to look if you're versatile. If you can only play one position, you're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Who is your role model? Like, who inspired you?
I have a lot of role models growing up. Growing up, I had a really hard childhood, so I really didn't have my parents around or anybody like that. Most of my role models growing up were professional athletes. George Brett in baseball, Derek Thomas in football. I looked up to a lot of those guys, and pretty much they gave me the motivation to do the best that I could out on the field and performing and whatnot.
What is your most favorite childhood memory?
Like I said, I've had a pretty hard childhood, hard life. Honestly, I can't really remember too much good. Because I was kind of bounced back and forth from home to home, place to place. So there's not really one thing that I can really look back on and say that was a defining moment in my life. Now, in terms of growing up and playing sports, I did have a lot of things that probably could be looked back at as my best childhood moment, which was probably winning the Babe Ruth World Series when I was 15 years old. I was on an all-star team, and we went up to Trenton, New Jersey, and we won the World Series. So that was probably one of the best moments of my life growing up as a young boy.
Were you ever bullied?
No, I really wasn't ever bullied. I think pretty much people knew who I was, what I represented. I really wasn't bullied. I really don't have respect for bullies. I saw a lot of it going on. I think a lot of the things that I did do is I took care of a lot of the bullies growing up. If I saw people bullying people, I was one of the first ones to step in and put it to a stop. So,
as an MMA fighter, what advice can you give kids today who are being bullied?
Basically, what I would do is to make sure that they would be very vocal in telling not only the bully, but family members, friends, anybody who's out there, that it won't be tolerated. It has to stop. It's not a good thing to do. And I think just standing up for what you feel is right and standing up for yourself is one of the best things that you can possibly do.
What advice would you give the bullies?
To stop. And it's not needed, and you get nowhere in life by doing that.
If you could go back and do one thing over in your life, what would it be and why?
There's probably quite a few things that I would do over in life. To pinpoint one in specific, I think that would be kind of difficult. That's kind of a hard question for me to answer. So that's about the best answer I can give you on that.
If you could thank one person for making a difference in your life, who would it be and why?
I would probably have to say they're like a surrogate family to me. Fred and Kathy Chamberlain, they were pivotal in turning my life around when I was younger. Basically, they saw a troubled kid. I was on the verge of getting kicked out of school, and essentially what they did is they took me under their wing, counseled me, were there for me as an outlet to talk, and were there for me all the time, no matter what it was. And I'm not talking about just being in school or being an athlete. I'm talking about on, off the field, outside of school. And then I'd have to say my ex-wife was probably another very, very pivotal person in turning my life around, basically showing me what love is, teaching me how to care, giving me the self-esteem and the confidence that I needed to become the person I am today.
What advice can you give to someone who wants to become an MMA fighter?
Stay strong. Work out. Don't take it for granted, because it's not as easy as it looks on TV. And if you think you can do it and you're dedicated enough to do it, stick with it. And if you have dreams and aspirations, anything can come true.
What advice can you give single parents?
My advice to single parents would be to stay strong, know that you're not alone. Surround yourself with positivity, because it's contagious, and basically, know that you can get it done alone. You don't need someone by your side in order to make it happen.
What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of my children. That's the thing that brings a smile and joy to my face every day. Is my kids. That's a miracle in itself, and that is my ongoing motivation every single day, is my kids. Is whatever walk of life it may be, whether it be my job, whether it be just waking up in the morning and seeing their beautiful faces, whether it be teaching them, guiding them, motivating them, just doing whatever I can with them. They're my life. That's what I live for, is my kids.
What advice can you give to kids who have lived the childhood that you have or have experienced it?
The thing that I would tell kids that have had a hard childhood like me growing up is to know, to not feel alone, but know that there are people out there that do love and care about you. That was probably the hardest thing for me, is the feeling of aloneness and feeling like there was nobody out there who did care about me and love me. when in actuality, there's a lot more people than I could even dream or imagine of that do love and care about me. So I would have to say that know that there are people that love and care about you. Set goals, set those every day. Set a new goal every day, and set your mind to be determined to accomplish those. And if you dream it, you can do it. I mean, it's as simple as that. Be motivated by life in general. No matter what it is that motivates you, just be motivated by something, and understand that it can always be worse. At the end of the day, when you do think that things are bad, when you put it in perspective in terms of life in general and everything else that's going on in the world, it can be a lot worse.
What is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Craziest thing I've ever done. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life. There's not one in specific. I mean, I think I'm pretty much noted as being a crazy, outgoing person. So, if you ask any of my friends, any of my family, they'd probably give you the same answer that I just gave you, in terms of they can't really narrow down one specific thing, because I'm known for just being crazy and doing outgoing things.
What is one thing your fans would be the most surprised to know about you?
I think fans would probably be the most surprised to know that I am a father of 3 beautiful girls. I think a lot of people see the fighter side of it, and they see these big, guys who, go out there and fight in a cage. But I don't think that they see the sensitive aspect of it, or understand the fact that, a lot of these fighters do have kids, have families, have lives outside of the cage. So I think people would be surprised to know that I'm a proud father of 3 beautiful kids.
And you're not, you won't beat somebody up for no reason. You're a nice person. I'm
a very nice person. I'm like a big cuddly teddy bear. You can ask my kids; they tell you the same thing. I don't go looking for fights. I respect everybody, and that's always the last resort. And by the way, I get paid to fight, so I'd rather make money fighting rather than not getting paid. And something bad could happen if I did it outside of what I normally do.
What would you like to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered for just being, number 1, a great father, number 2, being a great person, being a great family man. And I think that's something that I instill into my students, whether it be coaching, because I coach high school wrestling, whether it be coaching football, or just mentoring kids or children, or doing anything of that nature. Is how do you want to be remembered? When you walk away, what is the number 1 thing that you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for being a quitter? Do you want to be remembered for being an outstanding person, for being an outstanding athlete? I think those are questions that everybody needs to be asked, whether they're an athlete, a fighter, just a normal simpleton walking around. I think those are things that need to be asked. So.
What is the nicest thing you've ever done for someone else?
I believe in paying it forward. If you've ever seen the movie, but basically, I believe in being nice to everybody. I don't like having strife or animosity with anybody. I do a lot of nice things for people. I think the number 1 thing that I've done in my life is giving back to kids who are in need, mentoring kids who went through the same stuff that I went through as a young kid. And basically, not only that, but also coaching. When I coach, I get instant gratification by seeing these kids do what I teach them, and then they take it out on the mat, or they take it out on the field, and they do what I taught them. So that gives me instant gratification, because I know that I've helped that person, and I know that I've made them a better athlete, person, whatever it may be.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
In 5 years from now, I hope that I win the lottery. I'm not going to cross my fingers, but I see myself, hopefully as a champion in the sport of mixed martial arts, to be the best father that I can be. That's number 1, and to make sure that my kids are well taken care of and that they are, doing great.
Gino, we have talked about a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to say or share?
Basically, the only other thing that I want to share is, I train out of Champions Mixed Martial Arts right here, out of Bradenton, Florida. That's where I fight. We have 5 different pro fighters that are working out there on a continuous basis. I teach kids classes there Monday through Thursday. We're open, and it's free, for anybody who thinks that they want to come train. You don't have to be a fighter just to train. If you want to just come in and, be just for fitness, it's, anybody can come in, any walk of life can come in there and train. We have great membership fees, cheaper than anybody else out there. And I just want people to know that, if you have a dream, if you like watching it, if you enjoy just the physical aspect of it or anything like that, you can do it. I see a lot of people who come and go in the gym because they can't cut it or they, just aren't motivated enough. It takes a lot to come in there and do what we do. And not anybody can just walk in and be a fighter. It's not that easy. You have to work towards it. But if you're willing to put in the work and the determination and you're motivated, then come in and try it out. And if you live in the area, Champions is the best place around to do it. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much for talking with me. I can't wait to see you in the ring. I
can't either. September 10th, I'll be fighting in Fort Myers, Florida. Me and Raul Amaya, my training partner, and I'm hoping to bring it home to Bradenton, come home a winner, not only for Champions MMA, but for myself and my family.
Thanks again for watching. Remember, live, laugh, love, Augie.